Sub-Saharan Africa, China's new 2019 Defense White Paper, What It Means for Africa. This is from Paul Nantulia in the Habari Network. First, China's global reach has grown considerably and its foreign policy is more assertive and competitive, themes the White Paper touches on in each chapter. It paints a picture of a confident China determined to restore itself as a great power and directs the People's Liberation Army to stand ready to provide strategic support for the realization of the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. The Chinese government has given itself the task of doubling China's 2010 GDP of $12 trillion by 2021 to become a moderately prosperous society. And 2049 is the target date it is set for China to become a world-class power, and by 2050 China hopes to be a world maritime power. China's national defense in a new era underscores the globalization of China's evolving national security and the improved power projection need to advance China's expanding overseas interests. Big powers are the key. China's periphery, I've spoken about that several times, the priority, developing countries the foundation, multilateral platforms the stage. The strategic mapping is evident in the massive One Belt, One Road, described in Chinese, more commonly known as the Belt and Road Initiative. China is building new economic corridors linking Asia, Europe and the Middle East and Africa and connecting them to its economy. OBOR is a major driver of China's recalibrated security strategy and shapes many of the new missions and tasks the White Paper assigns to China's armed forces. So-called five connectivities of the Belt and Road, strategic infrastructure, policy coordination, trade, finance, people-to-people exchanges constitute the physical elements of the community of common destiny. China's elite counter-terrorism forces, the PAP's entree into African countries like Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda and Zambia, mention of Far Seas forces is particularly relevant for Africa because Chinese military authors use the terms Far Seas and Far Seas operations to refer to far-off maritime domains beyond the Western Pacific to the Indian Ocean, where China's presence is growing. China has also capitalized on its role as the world's biggest contributor of peacekeepers and second largest contributor to the UN's peacekeeping budget. Africa presents opportunities for China to expand the Belt and Road, and then in 2017 the gross annual revenues of state-backed Chinese engineering firms in Africa totaled around $51 billion, 10 times larger than China's average foreign direct investment into Africa since 2007. Over 70% of Africa's communications infrastructure has been built by Chinese telecoms giant Huawei. StarTimes similarly edged out its competitors to dominate the African media market, beaming Chinese content to 10 million rural subscribers in 30 countries. Chinese government's tendency is to view Africa as an opportunity, despite the risks, will continue to shape the larger context in which China's engagements will continue to expand as envisaged in the White Paper. I wrote about this in August 2017, China Rising. In that same article I said Xi Jinping's One Belt, One Road program binds the world to Beijing because all the roads and railways have but one destination, and that is China. And then I've written severally about how the tinderbox is the periphery. December 2018 I wrote about the truce dinner, Huawei and Dis. China Everbright Bank has placed Zimbabwe on a list of countries it will not be dealing with. The list, titled Unilateral Sanctions, is a notice to bank officials and places Zimbabwe under similar regulations, it is fleeing from Western financial institutions. That's not a good sign.